Hi, my name is Kendall Hill, and I am the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at Edmonds Center for the Arts. Today I'm here to talk to you about our new conversation series, Backstage at ECA. Backstage at ECA is a series of conversations between myself, staff members, artists, and community leaders. It's a chance for us all to come together and talk about the things that connects us all, and a chance for you to also get to see the personalities of the artists, community leaders, and some of the staff. It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that brings you a lot of the amazing performances and programs that you see, and now this is your chance to get to see and meet a lot of the people that are doing a lot of that work behind the scenes, and see ECA in a new light, and also some of the artists in a new light. I'm excited for you to join the conversation. Stay tuned for Backstage at ECA.
Hi everybody, my name is Eli Rosenblatt, and I'm a musician based in South Seattle. And I've been playing music for kids and families mostly for about 10 years now. And so that's been something that's brought me a lot of joy and healing and just like really wonderful experiences. And that brought me to doing the performance at Kidstock because ECA heard about me somewhere. I don't even know where they heard about me, but that's why, because they saw me play and they were like, hey, we want your music. So yeah.
You said 10 years for kids and families?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you attended like a live performance?
Me as a kid? Oh man. I mean, when I was a little kid, I went to see this band called Tickle Toon Typhoon, which is from Seattle. I was born in 1980, so they were around in the 80s. I have in my memory like very sort of, I see like a few images. They dressed up in like big costumes and there were the hug bugs. They would go around and hug people. It was super cute. And I don't remember a lot from that, but I do remember a little bit. So I don't know if those were my first, musical things, but I remember some from that.
I actually enjoyed your Kidstock performance as I was watching it online because of all of like the history that you were telling behind like the storytelling as you went from your introduction, matter of fact, some of the sounds and things that you were making, and like how you engaged with people on the screen who weren't technically in the same building with you. So I don't know how weird or natural that felt for you, but I enjoyed it. And I remember seeing videos and I was just like, wow, like this is great because it's still like engaging, but at the same time it's a little bit different because we were all in different spaces. But we all were technically experiencing the same thing together, which I thought was great and fun. But when I'm watching it, I'm always like, I wonder what it feels like for the person on the stage, basically talking to an empty room of chairs. I mean, you have the people that are on the stage with you, but they're like worried about the lights and the sound and everything else. They're partly there to help you with the production of it. They're not your primary audience, and so it's just like
Yeah, for me, I actually did end up getting pretty comfortable with Zoom shows, like shows specifically on Zoom. So I had some really joyful experiences. I didn't do a ton of Zoom performances, but like I had a few where I was like, I love this. This doesn't replace a live performance. It's not in any way a replacement, and it is a really valid way of connecting and sharing joy and sharing self-expression and sharing space together, sharing humanity, sharing all the things that music allows us to share. So that's one thing, is like, I love Zoom. Like I would love to keep doing stuff on Zoom. I'm really excited to get back to playing live. But the reason I like the Zoom is because it's still interactive. And that was the thing that I was missing at the ECA show. It was so cool to be on a stage and have all those people, and that was great. But I really craved, like, when I'm doing the show out of my studio, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Tommy? Tommy, I love that stuffed animal you have there. I have one, you know, it's like, and that for me, especially with the music where it's for, you know, people from like age 2 up to, you know, the parents are there too. So I'm interacting with the parents too. So that's one thing I really appreciated Zoom. Also just, you know, as challenging as it has been for me, I'm a really extroverted person, and that's been really challenging. It's also been, I guess I welcome the challenge and like the invitation into more depthful relationship with myself and with other people, you know, like just like not taking stuff for granted, like hugging someone, not taking that for granted and realizing, oh wow, that's a really big deal to be able to touch another human being that trusts you enough to let them embrace you, and that you trust enough that human connection. So like really valuing that. And so I'm really hoping to bring that forward in my life as much as I can, like in an intentional way, and be like, wow, this is really special that I get to live, that I get to be a human being in this body right now, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't remember who I was talking to, but we were basically saying like out in person, like just walking down the street, like generally speaking, like usually if you caught eyes with someone, maybe there was a smile or a wave. You can't tell if that's happening when masks are on. So it's just like you miss that like subtle kind of like interaction as well. And you don't realize how much you miss it until like you're looking for it. And it's like, oh, I can't even tell if well, maybe I can tell by your eyes if you're smiling, but not really. It's not the same. And so it's a lot of that you don't realize it until it's not there and you're looking for it. And I've never, before COVID, I was not really much of a hugger. Like I was very much pretty much like a germaphobe, and I kind of like always wanted my personal bubble not to be kind of invaded. But now it's so funny because like I'm vaccinated, and when some people that I haven't seen in a long time see me for the first time, the first question they ask is, am I vaccinated? And then afterwards they ask for a hug. And I never thought that I would say yes as many times as I have, because like I said beforehand, I was not a person who just like loved it just because I just thought it was like a special moment, and so if you got to hug me, it was like a special moment, mainly because of like just me just being afraid of germs and all of that. But also it's funny because COVID taught me to, yes, still take those things seriously, but appreciate the moments where you can do things. So I think a lot of people have learned that, and it's been actually nice because it's connected us all, like as humans, like you just said, like as far as humanity goes, like we are all able to actually see people. And it's so nice because once I see someone on a screen and then I see them like in person, it's like it's almost like you, even if you've known them before, it's almost like you finally are meeting like the body behind all of the things. If you were able to, whether like on Zoom or just like in person, obviously, because as we're getting ready to open back up, things are starting to go back to in person now. If you were able to like pick a place anywhere in the world that you could go and like perform, where would you go?
That's a really interesting question. For me right now, wow, that's such a really interesting question. I think for me, it's like what that brings up is the place that I want to go is not a geographical specific location. I want to go into a room or an outdoor space or something where I feel safe to be my full self, and where I have the capacity to make others feel safe being who they are and really embracing all that's real for them in that moment, whether it's joy, confusion, hatred, rage. Not to act these things out, but like notice that, of like whether it's a child or an adult, you know, whether it's stuckness or flow, or you know, that's like I want to be in that space where I and everybody else can experience who they are. And you know, of course what I'm bringing is the uplifting capacity, but I feel like too much in our society we don't acknowledge the fact that human beings are complex and life is not all love and light. That's not how it is. And so to actually experience true joy, true togetherness, true safety, I feel that we need to acknowledge, you know, what sometimes people label as the darker side of humanity, but also just like, you know, what we're living in is real. And all of the, you know, I could name many, many things in our society that we could probably agree easily that like this is a problem. And so these things live within us, you know, and I feel that I want to create space for people to, in a respectful and peaceful and hopefully moving their bodies in joyful way, you know, and whether they're gonna laugh or they're gonna cry or they're gonna sing, you know, I want to create those spaces for people. So it's not a geographical location. It's like a location within our hearts, or like a location within who we are together as a group.
And it's an experience that you can honestly take with you and like pretty much cherish for like a lifetime too. It's not just one of those things where you're going and you're attending, but you're not necessarily living in the moment and actually like letting it ground and truly understand like what those emotions and feelings are in that moment. No, so I like that.
Yeah, I mean, like what you're saying about in that moment, and I feel like that gets really specific, because like to mention like rage, hatred, these things are like big, scary emotions, right? But I like what you're saying is like in that moment, like we're all together, you know, me and a bunch of kids and a bunch of families playing music, like we're all together in that moment. What I want is for people, if they're feeling something that's difficult, for them to then feel safe and let it out, not by violence to themselves or like but by realizing like, oh wow, I actually feel this way. That's sad, or that's, you know, because under hatred and under violence and under rage, for me, my experience is always grief or tenderness. There's under that. And then under that can be joy, you know, if we actually have space to experience what's real for us. So, and it's in that moment. I love that you brought that in, because it's in the moment. It's not theoretical. It's, well, like you were saying before too, where you were like, we don't understand it. What did you say? You said we don't understand it, but it makes sense to us all. You know, it's like that same thing. It's like, it's not something to understand, it's something to experience.